Hi, Charles. I'm so sorry if you've already addressed this, but why is your shirt flickering? Is it made of Mithrilll? If not, would you give an update on Mithrilll? Well, no, unfortunately, I don't have a Mithrilll shirt. I wish I did. It'd be a lot of fun. Mithrill's a great material, and I wish it existed. I can give you an update on Mithrilll. They're on a 2 week development cadence, and they've been moving along, doing all their proof of concept. Mithrilll is in what's called the applied research phase. So there's a collection of open questions that need to be resolved and proofs of concept that need to be done. And the end result of that will be full end-to-end verification that Mithrilll as a protocol is viable at scale and in production. Then what happens as Mithrilll leaves applied research is Mithrilll will enter into a productization phase where partners will work to integrate Mithrilll. We'll do this with Lace, our wallet, and then we, of course, will work with others, hopefully a DC Spark with Flint and, the Vacuum Labs guys with Ada Light and maybe Roy and so forth. And then basically the goal would be designing a pluggable modular interface so that Mithrilll can be used and commoditized in that respect. So phase one is getting all the rust off and figuring out how it works. And we're deep in the weeds. And we've got to a point where we feel Mithrilll is quite viable. And now there's going to be an inflection point, a translation point from applied research to pluggability. Now, we've improved our processes to a point where we're able to do things very quickly. We have a 2 week development sprint with Mithrilll. So every 2 weeks, I get a full report, and they're answering questions at a pretty good rate. So I'm optimistic that towards the end of the year, that all the applied research for Mithrilll will be done. And then it's just a question of what is the gap between that implementation and what we'd like to do for productization. Given that there's tight integration with the Lace team and tight integration with the Galwad developers and our developers, the delta between what the applied research is doing and what will end up in market is pretty small. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of latency on that turnaround. Hydra, by the way, is also an applied research project, but it's following a very similar trajectory, and it already has commercial partners who are working to integrate. So I'm quite happy about it. So for those of you who don't know, Mithrilll is a long-term play for Cardano inclusive accountability. So basically, the idea is that if you have a cryptocurrency transaction sent to you from Cardano, you'd like to be able to verify two facts. One, that the tokens on that transaction are real, and two, they haven't been double spent. The canonical way of verifying this is either having a full node, which means that you're able to check it against your entire version of history, or trusting a third party in some way to help you with that verification. Both are suboptimal because the full node is very large, and it's only going to get larger as Cardano gets more used. And suboptimal, with trusting people, because the whole point of crypto is trust nobody. You lack a property called inclusive accountability. With Mithrilll, you can send on the wire with the transaction a proof, and you should be able to check that proof with less than the full blockchain. So a small amount of data, several megabytes, which means that cell phones can have the same level of security as a full node once you have this running. So ultimately, it means your light wallets can be just as secure as full node wallets. That's why we've invested a lot of time, effort, money into trying to figure out this technology. And, there's some very heavy approaches like Plumo, which is what Cello's using, and what Mina's doing with recursive snarks. And okay, but they still need an archive for the blockchain. So to me, it makes sense to use a simpler cryptographic primitives, simpler implementation that you can bring to market in a year horizon that basically accomplishes the same thing in practice that these guys are doing. But I don't know, maybe I've been in the business too long and I'm just jaded or something.